Hi, my name is Tyler, and this is episode 2 of What I Learned from Watching. On today's episode, we look at the 1939 French film Le Jour se lève, also known as Daybreak. I had an opportunity to see it at the Film Forum recently and thought it was fantastic. It is directed by Marcel Carné and stars Jean Gabin as Francois, a factory worker who has just committed a murder and is holed up in his apartment as the police surround the building. Le Jour se lève is considered one of the most prominent films in France's poetic realism movement of the 1930s, and it's hard to miss the fatalistic view it portrays, a major theme of the movement. For one, it starts off with the murder of a main character, and then begins to reveal what led to that point through flashbacks while constantly checking in on our hero as the police close in. And yet, the connection to fatalism extends beyond the film itself. First, it premiered nearly 3 months before France and Britain declared war on Germany. Second, the film was heavily censored on its release and outright banned the following year. And third, after RKO remade the film as The Long Night in 1947, the studio attempted to acquire and destroy all copies of the French original. Carné's masterpiece was thought to have been lost until the 1950s when, as fate would have it, a few copies resurfaced. There has recently been a 4K restoration with all of the censored scenes intact. The 75th anniversary restoration was just released on Blu-ray by Studio Canal in Europe, and hopefully we'll see a US release soon. So what can we learn? First, props. This movie shows a masterful use of props. A prop isn't always just a prop. It can be a metaphor, a device for exposition, an extension of a character, or many other things. Perhaps the most important of the props in the film are Francois' cigarettes. He wants to smoke but runs out of matches, forcing him to light every new cigarette with the end of a cigarette he just finished before it dies out. In essence, the cigarettes are a visualization of the time he has left before he's killed by the police. At the end, he fails to light a new cigarette before the old one dies out, signifying his time is up.
Troner dressed the set to make every object count. Cigarette butts mark the passage of time. Even the teddy bear on the mantelpiece, a token of love, is soon to meet its end.
Screenwriting legend David Mamet had this to say.
So if you look at what Marcel Carné did in that movie, it's so much of it has to do with the props and showing the prop. Well, it's like magic, right? You show the prop once, what does it mean? You show the prop twice, it must mean something. You show the prop the third time and it pays off in a way that you didn't expect. So the idea here is, in a confidence game, as in a movie, is ideas are planted early on, and they pay off. Later on, the audience goes, oh yeah, I remember.
We see the structure lend itself quite nicely to this idea. All of Francois' possessions are displayed at the beginning of the film, and the payoff comes with how they came to be in his possession, most notably the gun, but we'll get to structure in a bit. Next is adding meaning to the narrative space. A minimalist set highlights the importance of the props as we see in this clip.
In my films, I've always tried, and perhaps that's why people have found I haven't really dated quite so badly as other films, to convey an extreme severity. Like here, a few bits of furniture, blank walls, that's the way I like it. Really, I've never aimed for an effect of glamour. Even in Le Quai des Brumes, which in some ways has aged less than any of my other films, even there I let things get a bit glamorous. Whereas in Le Jour se lève, it's absolutely rigorous. You have a sense of tragedy in all its splendor, or its horror.
The lack of clutter in the space adds meaning to everything that inhabits it. And, along with the props, the narrative space becomes an extension of the character. This room is Francois' shell. It is keeping him safe from the dangers lurking and amassing outside. And real dangers they were. Carné allegedly had real bullets fired during this scene. Number 3 is the flashback structure. There's something to be said for a film that gives up what would be a major and shocking turn, in this case the murder, and instead makes the film about reaching an inevitable conclusion. Another landmark film used this just over a decade later, Sunset Boulevard. The flashback structure works the best when the flashbacks subvert the expectations of how things got to this point. It manages to have us asking what happens next, despite knowing where we'll end up.